Hey everybody, so honestly I think it's never been a better time to be an off-roader when it comes to just what is available from the factory, and case in point is something like this Ram Rebel right here. Now in this video I want to talk about the 5 big off-roaders from every single manufacturer that builds a half ton. So we got the Rebel, Raptor, Trail Boss, Pro-4X and TRD Pro. And in this video we're going to use a whole new scale we just came up with. It's the TFL Off-Road Indexed, and I'm going to explain to you exactly what that is right now. And here it is. This right here is the all-new TFL Off-Road Index scoring chart. So let me break down exactly how we're going to score all off-roaders from now on. And let me just first say that this is all about scoring off-roaders based on a spec sheet. We're taking into account all the different numbers, all the gear that are on these vehicles. But I do realize things change once you get out into the real world. So these numbers will give you a good sense for where these trucks fall straight from the factory, and then make sure you stay tuned to the channel because I'm planning to get every single one of them, and we're going to see how this number really translates into the real world. So first, let's explain the ORI Off-Road Index. So at the bottom of our scale, if you get a 0, we imagine that as a NASCAR on slicks, something with no off-road capability whatsoever. And then down here at 100, well, that is the perfect off-road machine, which actually doesn't exist. Some vehicles will get close, but nothing will ever hit that perfect 100. So now let me show you how we get the scores. So first of all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, you get 20%. Of proper transfer case, you get 20. Now, in lieu of a transfer case, if you don't have a transfer case, but there is terrain management systems, you're gonna get 5% out of the possible 20. Now, all-terrain tires is gonna get you 10%. With ground clearance, we decided on 9 inches. So if you're over 9 inches, you're getting another 5%. Differential locks, you have 3 possibilities, front, center, and rear, for a total of 15, 5 each. Armor skid plates, same as the diff locks, you have front, center, and rear, and those are 3% each for a total of 9. Now, approach, departure, and breakover, we've gone with 25 degrees for all 3, and each one is worth 5%. So if you're over 25, you're gonna get those points. And then camera systems, you're gonna get 5% if you have more than a backup camera, because of course backup cameras are mandatory, so every vehicle has one. But if you have a front-facing camera or a 360 degree, a round view camera, that's gonna score you points because that helps on the trail. And then finally, we did leave 1 point for subjective scoring. So this is just, what I think or what any of our TFL presenters think about a vehicle. And that 1% can be split up into decimals. So it can be a 0.1, 0.2, 0.8, 0.9, whatever you want. So that just gives us a chance to sort of weigh in on it because again, spec sheets will tell you a lot about a vehicle, but there's always that little bit of something that a spec sheet just won't tell you, and we're going to do our best to sort of translate that in our subjective scoring, and that brings us down to our total of 100%. So now you know the scale, let's dive into these trucks. So right now I'm going to cover all 5 half tons, but I'm only going to do the top off-road trims. First, we'll start by discussing what each one of these packages offer, including the pricing and power plants, and then at the end, we will rank each one of these trucks on the ORI scale, and we'll tell you which one is the best, at least on paper. First, we have the Silverado Trail Boss. Now, the Trail Boss is available in 2 different trims. The cheaper of the 2 is the Trail Boss Custom, and if you get a double cab standard bed model, it starts at just a hair under $40,000 in the US. If you do want some more content on your truck, you can go for the LT Trail Boss, which will cost just about $48,000. So the Trail Boss comes with a 2-inch lift straight from the factory, which is going to help out your angles. In total, the Trail Boss gets an approach angle of 28.7 degrees and a departure angle of 27.2 degrees. Ground clearance is measured at 10.8 inches. When talking powertrains, in the Trail Boss Custom, you can get the 4.3 liter V6 if you want it with 285 horsepower, or you can also get the 5.3 liter V8, which makes 355 horsepower and 383 pound-feet of torque. So what is included in the package? Well, I already mentioned the 2-inch factory suspension lift. All of the features from the Z71 off-road package are also packed into the Trail Boss, and you also get an AutoTrack 2-speed transfer case. For tires, every single Trail Boss is fitted with a set of 32-inch Goodyear Wrangler Duratrax wrapped around 18-inch black wheels. Next up, let's talk about the 2019 Ram Rebel, which starts at a base price of $44,940 in the US. The standard Rebel arrives with steel suspension components, although you can get air suspension on this truck, and that is going to help all of your angles. So in off-road 2 mode with fully lifted air suspension, the Rebel has an approach angle of 23.1 degrees, a breakover of 22.1, and a departure angle of 27.1 degrees. Ground clearance on the Rebel is a little under 10 inches as measured on our long-term TFL Ram Rebel. Now, power for the Rebel can come from the base Pentastar V6, but the engine you'll want is the 5.7-liter Hemi V8, making 395 horsepower. And now let's talk about what's included in the Rebel package. So, check the option box and you're going to be getting an electronic locking differential, a 1-inch lift, Bilstein shocks with remote reservoirs, hill descent control, tow hooks featuring wide bumper openings, underbody protection with skid plates on the transfer case, steering system, oil pan, and gas tank. And underneath it all is a set of 18-inch wheels wrapped in 33-inch Goodyear Wrangler Duratrax. Now let's look at the 2019 Ford Raptor Super Cab. The approach angle on this monster is 30.2 degrees, departure is 23.1 degrees, while breakover angle is 22.9 degrees. Ground clearance measures in on the Raptor at a pretty staggering 11.5 inches. Power for this truck comes from the 3.5-liter high-output EcoBoost V6, making 450 horsepower and 510 pound-feet of torque thanks to those twin turbos. So what is included in the Raptor package? Well, the F-150 gets Fox shocks with live valve technology, a 410 rear end, long travel suspension along with a body lift, of course that unique engine, and a front skid plate. There's also a host of different off-road driving modes in the Raptor, including everyone's favorite, Baja mode. For tires, a set of BF Goodrich KO2s is fitted that measures in at just about 34 inches. Pricing for the Ford Raptor Super Cab begins at just a little over $52,000. Now let's talk Nissan, which means we have to look at the Titan Pro-4X. Now the Pro-4X is a trim level, not just a package, and on the Titan it starts at $47,110. Approach angle on this big truck is 22.8 degrees, departure comes in at 23 degrees, while breakover angle is at 21.7 degrees. Ground clearance for the Pro-4X is 9.8 inches. For power, the Titan Pro-4X uses a 5.6-liter V8 with 390 horsepower, though if you do get the larger Titan XD Pro-4X, you can get that 5-liter Cummins V8. Off-road gear in this package includes Bilstein shocks, a transfer case skid plate, hill descent control, an electronic locking rear differential, a Class 4 hitch, and a trailer brake controller. Sitting underneath it all is a set of 33-inch General Grabber all-terrain tires. Now the ultimate Tundra off-road package is the TRD Pro, and it starts at just a little under $50,000. The approach angle for the Tundra TRD Pro comes in at 31 degrees, while departure measures in at 17 degrees, and ground clearance sits at 10.6 inches. Power for the TRD Pro comes from that 5.7-liter V8, which means you're getting 381 horsepower and 401 pound-feet of torque. So what's included on the Tundra TRD Pro? Well, this truck has a TRD 2.5-inch coil spring, high-mounted double wishbone front suspension with a 2-inch lift. Now you're also getting TRD Fox front shocks with piggyback reservoirs, TRD shocks with piggybacks in the rear, Rigid Industries fog lamps, a TRD Performance exhaust, TRD stamped skid plate, a spray and bed liner, and that big Toyota grille across the front. For tires, the TRD Pro uses a set of Michelin LTX AT2s. Now here comes the full breakdown for each truck. and we won't leave them up for too long, so if you really want to dive into all these scores, you're going to have to pause it. So first up, the Raptor. Now the Titan. The TRD Pro. Here's the Ram Rebel. And we finish with the Chevrolet Silverado Trail Boss. And now the moment you've been waiting for. Here is the chart showing all these trucks' final overall scores. And there you have it. The 2019 Ford Raptor Super Cab is the winner of this comparison. What pushed it over the edge? Well, it was its front Torsen limited slip differential, which can act as a mechanical locker when slip is occurring, essentially giving the Raptor 3 lockers. Oh, and one note about center locking differentials. If your truck has a proper 2-speed transfer case, that acts like a center locking differential, so we are counting that as a center locking diff. So there you have it. Now you know exactly which off-road half-ton is the best. Well, at least on paper. Yes, I realize that using the off-road index does not really add in the real world. And of course, getting things out on the trail, things are going to change. So now you have an idea using that ORI of where these trucks fall. And in the coming months, we're going to take every single one of these trucks that I just talked about, we're going to run them on our toughest off-road trails, and then we will see how these ORI scores really translate into the real world. And if you want to already see one video which does exactly that, go check out TFL Car right after this. So go in the comments, let me know what you think of all these trucks, of the ORI, and then as always, come right back here to TFL Off-Road for the latest news, views, and real world reviews. See ya.